Hey folks, welcome back to AI Unplugged. I'm your host, Travis Frisinger, your resident AI adventurer. Today we're diving into the creative process behind my metal album, Mr. Fluffle's Tiny Reign of Terror. I'll walk you through how I use generative AI tools like Suno and ChatGPT to bring this unique project to life. Link in the description. Let's get started. So, why a metal album about my cat, Mr. Fluffles, otherwise known as Dante, his real name? Well, the idea was to experiment with generative AI in a creative context. I guess software's creative, but a different creative context. One that I'm not familiar with, one that I may have to build new skills in. And for those that don't know, I'm a classically trained pianist. So I've done some music composing before. I've also spent plenty of time with my friends who own studios and do music production. So while I'm no stranger to the process, getting good results takes time. And I wanted a quick route to being creative and kind of letting loose the silly songs that I tore my family with all day long. Yeah, there's always kind of something playing in my head I feel like making up a song about. Anyway, using AI, I was able to use tools to help me compose music, write lyrics, and, even create some album art along the way. It was an exciting journey of discovery and creativity, and today I'm going to share this process with you. So let's talk about SunoAI, or simply Suno. I don't know what to call it. I think Suno's probably right. It's a artificial intelligence music creation program designed to generate realistic songs that combine vocals and instrumentals, or just purely instrumental. Suno's been widely available since December last year, so December 2023. After the launch of a web application in a partnership with Microsoft, which included Suno as a optional plugin to Microsoft Copilot. Now, if you don't know what Microsoft Copilot is, it is not GitHub Copilot, even though Microsoft owns GitHub. GitHub Copilot is a coding tool. Codium's another one. I spoke about Codium last episode. Copilot, in this sense, is just a kind of a chat dialogue, a tool. I've used it briefly on one project where it was the only thing I had access to due to restrictions, and it's just like a chat with type of product. So Suno operates by producing songs based on a prompt, as all these generative AI things seem to. You can prompt it with a simple description, mood, genre, give it more detailed description, including lyrics, once again, the genre, song title. You can really kind of drill down into the detail there, kind of giving it song structure as well. Now, while Suno doesn't disclose its dataset used to train AI, it claims to have safeguards against plagiarism and copyright. I did try prompting with like in the style of insert artist here, like Taylor Swift, and it said it couldn't do that. So maybe there is, maybe there isn't. It's got some level of protection. And while my approach initially was to just play around with Suno, like I made I made some really silly songs like Banana Stew and oatmeal salad, and just silly things that I was literally singing in front of my computer. And then I thought, these are great little prototypey type things. Let's see if it's any decent. And it made decent songs. They're pop songs. I didn't make metal songs out of those. That feels a little bit more of a stretch. But I went with pop. It seems pretty simple. It worked. It made things. They're up on the YouTube channel, and it was pretty cool. From there, I kind of moved on to trying to figure out the more detailed structure of things, getting a sense of like, how do you get a little bit more out of this tool? So thankfully, they've got a really cool feature where you can go home, you can go to the home page, and it's going to list off a whole bunch of like popular songs on the showcase section. It could be some drum and bass, it could be some country, it might be some indie pop, some metal. There's a trending song section, and the cool thing is you can reuse the prompt. Now, it's not going to give you exactly the same song because it's generative, right? But it's going to give you a sense of how to structure things, how to actually drill into beyond just a simple, I want a pop song about banana stew. I think that's what literally the first prompt I gave it. It's going to give me some guidance and structure and how to compose music. So it was really useful. There's a community. It's really cool. I've really enjoyed the process of getting there. So once I kind of understood some basics of like how the prompts went together and how to get better results, I was like, cool. I know another generative AI tool I can plug in alongside this. So I headed over to ChatGPT. And, after I'd analyzed some of these starting points, some of the prompts that were specific to Suno, I started looking for some different examples of metal bands, like lyrics, structures, melodies, or genres. Really, what are some genres I enjoy? I enjoy the thrashy type stuff. So I was like, okay, let's kind of think about something in that space. And I played around trying to make a few, and I was like, oh, cool. There's another thing I can play around with. I can try some prompting ideas here. So, man, excuse me. Initially, I tried plugging in just an example and saying make a song from this, and after a few the few shot prompting example, it started to get a real good sense of what I was asking for. So I had made a whole list of album song titles and short descriptions, and I started plugging those in, saying, hey, I need a new metal song in the style of this that matches this title and this description, and it started producing really good things, decently composed songs, at least from a lyrical standpoint. Can't tell me how good it is musically. But it started to kind of structure the songs differently, talking about like, riffy intros or thrashy bits here or there, really starting to get a bit more creative. Um, and as I started to plug those in, I started to get, really good results. So I think the key here was to keep a singular thread in which I did all my work, kind of keep that context in place. So after it's established those few shots, it's able to really dial in, keep the kind of same thread of what I'm going for through the album. My first time putting something together like this. There's a difference between composing a small piece of piano music and putting together a whole metal album, but it was fun. And in all, it took me probably about a week ish. A lot of evening hours, but I put it on YouTube. I put it on SoundCloud initially, and who goes there? Just to have somewhere. I was like, I don't know. Let's try this YouTube thing. Put it up there. I started getting some traction. Um, and then okay, I was like, cool, I got the song. I don't really like the auto-generated art, so Suno will give you auto-generated art, and there's a prompt region to go get it to dial the art in. But I was like, I like ChatGPT's thing. I know there's other products out there that you can pay for, and I already pay for a ChatGPT license, so it's good enough for me. So I started playing with art, and I kind of got to a style. I was like, yes, that's it. That's the one I like. So taking that kind of few shot examples, I stuck with the thread. And what was really cool about ChatGPT is that you're able to go in and you're able to kind of edit out little bits of text or highlight a region, kind of like a basic paint tool, and say give it a prompt and say remove the text, remove the object. The cat needs to have its eyes closed, and select the eyes and tell it that. And it was pretty good at being able to iterate on. It was kind of dig into the detail of that iteration. Was able to really dial in the album art. So it didn't look so AI generated. I think the first few I just kind of took what was there. That one of the songs has a typo, and that's when I discovered that you could go change the text and tell it to update it and take out the typo, and magically the rest of the image stayed, where before it was this kind of broad baskety type prompting. If you reprompted it, you got a whole new image. The fact that it stayed there and was able to apply that instruction to a region felt like it was a really big step forward. So basically, I was able to use ChatGPT to kind of drive the larger concept of the album, both lyrically and artistically, that matched the music's vibe. So Suno was the generator, ChatGPT was kind of more of the larger orchestrator, holding that bigger context. Suno was good at good at what it did. So while Suno was really good at what it did, there was challenges. It was just a real strong desire to do more with it. Specifically, I had such limited control over a lot of the aspects of Suno. Like, sure, it wasn't just a generic, hey, generate me a 1 minute song that's metal. There's been various versions of the models, and they're up to, I think, 4 minute songs now, which is pretty album worthy, right? So that got me, producing and kind of wishing I could tweak the output, wishing I could like adjust a few things in the detail, maybe change the tempo or bring the vocals through a little stronger. I can't do that. It's a basket of options type generation. You give it a prompt, whether it's really custom or really generic, it's going to produce songs. It was producing two at a time. If you don't get a subscription, you're very limited. $10 a month. I bought a bunch of credits for that. I had a lot of fun, but it was generating 10, 20 songs at a time and listening. Does it match the style, the vibe? Delete, and some things would be so close, and I just wanted to tweak a few things, but I had to throw the whole thing away and start over. And that was frustrating, especially when I kind of looked at the ChatGPT experience, where 6 months ago it was the same thing: generate a whole bunch of things and throw it out if it doesn't match what you want. Because good luck prompting it to make minor adjustments. So while Suno's gone forward and it's got better models and I can generate album length songs, I think there's an extend feature so you can get 4 or 5 minute songs, maybe even 5, 6, maybe even 7 minute songs I've seen. It doesn't allow me that really fine level of finesse where I feel like I'm creating with it. There was an element of creativity, sure, but it didn't give me a real fine level of control. It was a real basic type of experience. So maybe there's something there to dig into in the future, whether it's output into a specific tool where you can do the adjustments or further prompting within Suno. I'm not sure, but definitely room to improve. But nonetheless, it was still an awesome and fun experience. I just wish I had that same level of fidelity, fine tuning to kind of overload a term in the AI space for the music generation side of things. But we'll see as more advanced features come out, more detailed modifications and refinement of the music seem possible. It seems like they're working on kind of refining the quality of their models and the duration. So I'm hopeful. So after countless iterations and tweaks, both at ChatGPT and at Suno, so as much as I enjoyed ChatGPT, still took some time. Sometimes the style would really deviate. Sometimes it get really dark. It was meant to be a lighthearted metal album, not a real dark metal album. More of a parody type thing on metal than a real kind of black metal type thing. But anyway, I managed to blend kind of AI generation, Gen AI creativity, and my personal touch as both a creative, musician, not so much an artist, to an album that I think is a testament to be, of what can be achieved when you combine human creativity with the power of generative AI. Like I'm proud of it. I really am. Lots of people seem to enjoy it. I love it. Like I must have rocked that thing solid 2 or 3 times easily. Maybe even closer to 10 times. The process it wasn't just about letting AI do its thing. It was about guiding it. It was about helping it make decisions, about taking those options and applying, kind of my discretion to help drive the bigger picture, right? It's about refining the output to create something unique and cohesive, which was hard. I've generally only used Gen AI as like small creative exercises, like my GPT with me experiment and the coding that's happening there, this project. These are much bigger things than I was doing even just a few months ago, and I've been working with Gen AI pretty intensively for 18 months now. So it was really neat to see something as rich as a full album come together way faster than I could have traditionally. Um, and all the fun that I had doing it, all the joy that it's brought, and some of the other side songs that it's spun out. It's neat to feel joy from an exercise like this, to learn something, to be creative without having invested 6 months just to get the skills to get there. Is it, something I would release to the larger world? Well, I have, but, I wouldn't, as a musician, stand behind it. This was clearly an exercise for a very specific purpose. The goal was to creatively compose a larger piece of work with generative AI to see if I could do that. And once I had done that, to see if people would find value in it. They have. That's where the GPT with me and the scribe idea pick up and move forward into, can I create something of value that not only I find useful, that other people find useful and are potentially willing to pay money for it. I have done it being better, faster, stronger than I could have as an individual or trying to build a team around it. Now, I'm not saying I won't need a team. I just will need one a lot less quickly than if I do it kind of with the aid of Gen AI. So anyway, that's the story behind Mr. Fluffle's Tiny Reign of Terror. It was a fascinating experiment in blending AI with music and art. So if you're interested in hearing the album or seeing the artwork, be sure to check out my YouTube channel at GPT with me now. Check out the live stream, GPT with me. Links are in the description. And in the next episode, we'll explore the world of evals. What are they? How do you use them? And why vibe-based evaluations might be your first step into the world of taming LLM output. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Anyway, thanks for tuning into AI Unplugged. Don't forget to visit my blog, AIBuddy.com. Follow my live stream, GPT with me, on YouTube. And until next time, keep experimenting and stay curious.